You've fallen in love again, and not only do you realize that they aren't the one, but you seem to have a pattern of being with and ending up with partners and people that don't really like you.
He's always like this.
Why is that? I think there could be many reasons for this. These reasons might reflect differently for each individual person. When I caught my relationships stuck within this pattern, I realized that it had to be something deeper, something else that I wasn't seeing or that I couldn't see.
I'm over this.
When you continue to end up with people that seem to deep down have a disdain for who you truly are, I think it could benefit you to reflect on your deeper wounds, programs, and subconscious beliefs about yourself, about what you believe that you deserve, and how you expect to be treated in love and relationships.
It's time for me to stop hopping from one relationship to the next and really find out why I pretty much keep ending up with the same person.
Finally.
What? Who's there? We're your angelic guidance team. We've been waiting for you to recognize this pattern all along. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, I guess.
When we've been so deeply conditioned to value ourselves by the way that others love us, or only see value in ourselves if it pertains to being with another, it can feel literally heart-wrenching to try and break this pattern of toxic codependency, especially if you are subconsciously programmed to see certain toxic patterns and behaviors as normal rather than toxic.
I'm going to write a pros and cons list. Let's start with the pros. Is cute and funny. Okay, next cons. Well, makes fun of me, doesn't compliment me, ignores me, gossips about me to his friends, says I'm annoying. This is horrible. How did I not notice this before? It's hard to notice something if that's all that you've known and all that you're used to. We left you signs again and again just to see when you'd finally get it. We're just glad that you made it here. I know it can be easy to judge your past self for allowing yourself to be treated like this for so long. But when you look at it this way, at the time, she was doing her best with what she knew, with what she was ready and willing to face and accept.
When reflecting on this pattern, there are 4 things that come to mind that have really helped me with no longer sacrificing my intuition, time, authenticity, self-expression when it comes to who I date and also who I am even attracted to. 1. I started to reflect upon my own thoughts and self-treatment. I asked myself questions like, are you really hard on yourself? Do you think it's your job to make others happy at all and any cost, even at the cost of your own joy or taking up space as you want to? These questions you start asking yourself are to really sort through your own beliefs about you, which helps you to see why you may have been accepting less than you actually deserve. In this step, of course, there's going to be a lot of self-forgiveness and maybe even some feelings of grief when you start to see more clearly the circumstances from which you built those harmful self-beliefs. It can be devastating to remember why you became so hard on yourself or unkind to yourself, because first, and oftentimes as a child, someone you deeply trusted was unkind and unfair to you.
This same way he's been treating me and talking to me is the way I've been treating and talking to myself. It can be heartbreaking to see when you began to believe the abuse and harmful projections around you. But once you see clearly exactly when you started to take this on as your own and where it comes from, it can limit you no more. That's real.
2. Be honest with yourself about your relationship, current and or past. Are there red flags that you have been or often do look past? Do you enable your partner's harmful behavior towards you or others because you're deeply afraid of being alone? Do you feel like you have to shrink yourself to make your partner feel better about themselves or within the relationship? I know sometimes when we are in love, we want the honeymoon phase and the positive parts of our relationship to be the only thing that exists. And thus, this becomes becomes the only thing we want to accept and admit to ourselves. It can be oh so scarily easy to fall into the conditioning of wanting a man to be your savior, and thus ignoring the signs and your intuition just for the sake of being in love. But I think that acknowledging a person's flaws and your own can be key to witnessing honestly your own humanity and that of others, even the ones that you love and cherish deeply. This acknowledgement can make love and your relationships that much more meaningful and safe. If you notice that someone who claims to love you is consistently belittling you, undermining your self-expression or self-trust, subtly putting you down, trying to embarrass you, or treating you like an inconvenience to their life, it may be time to start to notice these and other behaviors that are harmful and recognize them honestly.
You mean to tell me that guy from years ago that I thought actually liked me was just trying to get what he wanted from me and use me to make himself look better because he was actually a horrible person inside and out? And the whole time he was being kind towards me, he was just reflecting to me my own love and mimicking what he thought I wanted / deserved, not actually who he was? That's exactly right. I don't know how I'm only now noticing this. Tell us about it. This is because since you were young, you were taught to deeply doubt your intuition and your inner guidance systems. So likely you did notice the red flags. You just learned to downplay and dismiss them. But don't be so hard on yourself about it. It's something that many people go through, especially in a society that gaslights women and victims of abuse because it is built on a foundation of oppression that is fundamentally broken. You are not alone. That makes total sense. Thank God you're here to guide me.
3. Your environment and social conditioning, the pressure from others, from the world, your family, has prompted, primed, promised, and guided you to believe that having someone is so much better than being alone. We've seen it with our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents. Generation after generation of women tolerating abuse, emotional neglect, and dismissal long after the relationship stopped or even started being loving or safe. Why is that? For generations, women were taught that their value depended, and oftentimes their survival depended, on who they could keep, not who they could become. For centuries, marriage wasn't about just love. It was about survival and social standing. A woman's worth was tied to a man's name and validation. Women were legally and socially dependent on men for housing, financial stability, and even basic safety. Until 1920, women in the United States couldn't even vote. Even today, women's right to bodily autonomy remains a battlefield. Even as late as the 1960s and the 1970s, women faced major systemic restrictions. For example, it wasn't until 1968 that the Fair Housing Act prohibited discrimination based on race, color, religion, and national origin. This did not extend protections for women until 1974. You know, everyone else can have it. Women, you wait.
Stop it. Get some help.
It's giving jealous. Around the same time, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act of 1974 was enacted to prevent discrimination in credit transactions based on sex and marital status. These changes finally allowed women to open credit accounts and access housing independently, which were critical steps towards financial autonomy. Just because a girl gets her nails done doesn't mean she doesn't know how to handle her finances. Stop the hate.
Stop it.
The early 1970s, only a few years before my own mother was born. My grandmothers and great-grandmothers were alive and well during this time, which means this isn't distant history. It is a living memory, similar to the history of racial injustice. If we do not acknowledge inequality that we are coming from, or the ways in which the systems and social structures that we navigate today are rooted in these histories, we will never fully have the chance to create meaningful change or free ourselves from these systems however possible and when necessary. I find that the history helps further understand the generations before us deep entanglement and sense of obligation and loyalty to a system or even just a mindset that did not truly protect or support them at its core. They were surviving within it, and many women were fighting for the rights that we have now. This context matters because healing this pattern isn't just personal, it's ancestral. We are breaking the remnants of a system designed to keep women small, dependent, and afraid of their own power and independence. We are the generation quickly learning to see that solitude isn't punishment, it's power.
I know that's right.
That choosing ourselves is not selfish, it's sacred, and that oftentimes, if not always, being alone will continually be better than standing next to someone who doesn't truly support, value, or respect you. Being alone is not a loss. Compromising your self-worth is. 4. A rose is still a rose. Even after the times you were bent, bruised, or told your worth depended on someone else's validation. This is what breaking the toxic cycle of codependency looks like.
See my days are cold without you, but I'm hurting while I'm near you, and though my heart can't take no more, I keep on running back.
This is why I call all people to do the inner work, to reflect, to unlearn, and to reconnect with our collective history. We do not have to tolerate abuse as love, even when that harm was modeled by those that we deeply trusted. We have the right to walk away.
Stop crying. I don't know how I allow you to treat me this way, and still I stay.
When we step fully into our awareness, we reclaim ourselves and the pieces of womanhood lost for the generations before us and after us, breaking the cycle that told powerful women that they should compromise their own growth for someone else's comfort, or created just to serve and give to others constantly. We honor our truth, our boundaries, and our dreams. Choosing yourself, especially as a woman, is actually revolutionary because it is the highest act of love you can offer yourself. It is by extension an act of love that you give to the world. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned and making it to the end of this video. Don't be afraid to like, subscribe, and to reshare it with someone else that you love that might resonate with the video as well. They might need to hear it today. Be well, and as always, stay true. Peace. Cause mine pops severely and yours don't.
And yours don't.
They're mad that we got style grace Miss United States.
We were good. We